We are going to get started in 2 minutes, so I'd like to ask you to please take your seats. This is your 2-minute warning. Shana Tova, Good Yontif, Anyada Buena. I want to extend a warm welcome to everyone in this building and everyone who is attending virtually. I'm Joanna Davidson, and I'm delighted to be the MC for this 2025 5786 Rosh Hashanah gathering. I've been a member of Boston Worker Circle since 2011, along with my husband, Bobby Milstein, and our children, Jasper, who attended Shula from Aleph to Zion and graduated with the B'nai Mitzvah class of 2019, and Zoli, who has been part of Shula since he was just a few weeks old and came to the Purim party dressed as a Hamantash. He is now in the Zion B'nai Mitzvah class. When I was Zoli's age in 7th grade, my middle school principal had every student take one of those personality tests that reveal what profession you should be when you grow up. My evaluation came back with the unequivocal result that I should be a rabbi. Now, at the time, I was already skeptical about theologically centered versions of Judaism, and so I scoffed, and I said something like, "Those tests don't know anything." But had I known that this is what they had in mind, I might not have been so dismissive. I'm honored to be a one-day-only, un-rabbi MC in a community that continually broadens the horizons for diverse, meaningful Jewish ways of being. So, in order for today's program to proceed smoothly, I want to just remind everyone of a few things. Please take a moment to turn off your phones and anything else that beeps or lights up or might distract you and those around you from being fully present. If you're coming towards the front as a reader or for any other reason, please be careful not to cross in front of our ASL interpreter. Restrooms are on this level behind me and also down the stairs from the lobby. And there's an elevator also behind me, out these doors, to more restrooms downstairs. And emergency exits are out towards the front, where you see the lighted signs, and also at this door behind me. We are lucky to have community safety volunteers here to support us, and they are identifiable by their neon vests. They're available at any point if you need assistance with finding your way or have any safety concern. I also want to recognize that we're a very, very full group, and if you, for any reason, are uncomfortable and a little tightly squeezed, we have seats up front, and they are available to anyone in this group to sit up there. You can even sit next to me. I would be delighted to have a neighbor on a seat next to me. So if you do want to move, now would be a good time before the service starts. So please come join us in any of the empty seats up on the stage. And then finally, to sustain this mood and spirit of the holiday and to provide greater accessibility to our community members who are sensitive to loud noise, we'd like to ask you to refrain from applause or cheering, but you can feel free to express appreciation by waving your hands or your fingers at any point. Now, to get things going, please turn to someone that you don't know and greet them, and then take just a minute to introduce yourselves to each other. Those of you online, please send your greetings through the online chat. Okay, I know we could spend all day doing this, but I'm going to pull you back. Thank you. We will have a Kaddish after the service, and you can continue these conversations. And now we'll begin our Rosh Hashanah service with our first reading.
L'Shona Tova, welcome to the new year 5786. For thousands of years, the Jewish people have marked the new year with the rituals of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and the 10 days between them, a time of reflection, forgiveness, and turning to do better. As a secular, progressive Jewish community, today we are here to continue that tradition and provide time and space for introspection and growth, assessment and healing, receptiveness, and renewal. We ask ourselves, how can I open my heart to the possibilities of the year to come? We ask, what has transpired this past year? What am I grateful for? What must I apologize for? What has been my responsibility? What adjustments can I make for the next year?
We acknowledge that we are meeting on the ancient homeland and traditional territory of the Massachusetts people. Boston Workers Circle now pays a voluntary land tax to the Massachusetts tribe of Ponkapoag as a symbolic gesture acknowledging the historic dispossession of indigenous lands and a way to support tribal sovereignty and economic development. We pay respect to Massachusetts people's past, present, and future, and their continuing presence in their homeland and throughout the Massachusetts diaspora.
May these lights bring happiness, warmth, and a sense of unity with all who are celebrating Yom Tov. May these lights guide our way in this new year. For the Hebrew blessing, we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvosav, v'tzivanu lahadlich ner shel Yom Tov. In Ladino, we say, Saludamos el nuevo año según la tradición de nuestro pueblo, que empiece con el sonido del Shofar, un año de paz y de libertad para todos. In Yiddish, we say, Wir begrüßen dem Neujahr, soll der Klang von Trauer unheben ein Jahr von Sholem und Freiheit für alle Menschen. In English, that means, we welcome the new year in the tradition of our people. May the sound of the shofar begin a year of peace and freedom for all people.
Today we come together as a community to consider the world as it is and the better world we hope to build together. When we ask, what has transpired this year? We are horrified that our collective traumas, histories, and identities continue to be exploited in ways that are antithetical to our values. These are being exploited by the Israeli government and military to displace, starve, attack, and indiscriminately murder Palestinians in both Gaza and the West Bank, all with U.S. funding. We are outraged at the callous cruelty of our current president and federal government towards those who have long been deprived of a fair share of this country's bounty: immigrants, the poor, people of color, women, the LGBTQ+ community, and religious minorities. And we are dismayed at the erosion of both civility and democratic norms, including freedom of speech, the separation of governmental powers, and the commitment to reasoned, evidence-based public discourse. And when we ask, and again when we ask, what has transpired this past year, we have acted together to reclaim our traumas, histories, and identities, using them not as weapons to bludgeon others, but as tools in the forging of wide-based coalitions working for justice. We have condemned the weaponization of anti-Semitism to suppress political dissent and the rise of calumny, conspiracy theories, and attacks against Jews. Individually and collectively, we have protested, networked, organized, educated, and campaigned. We have held hands and cried with those who are facing unparalleled loss and trauma.
It is easy to give up in despair, but we are so fortunate to have this community to join in grieving and organizing, to express our fears and take action to counter those fears. We invite you to say together, keep my anger from becoming meanness. Keep my sorrow from collapsing into self-pity. Keep my heart soft enough to keep breaking. Keep my anger turned towards justice, not cruelty. Remind me that all of this, every bit of it, is for love. Keep me fiercely kind. As we begin our treasured New Year's rituals, let them serve as guideposts, inviting us into the reflective space of the days of awe from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur. While the process of self-reflection is done individually, we derive strength from sharing the process in our community. This time is ours to settle more deeply into ourselves and as members of our community. Self-reflection can be uplifting, eye-opening, painful, steeped in regret, healing, and also inspiring. When we experience this with others, it reminds us that we are not alone. Together, we help one another to find the courage to do this honest self-reflection. As we turn inward, let's also turn to each other, both in person and online. Let's wish each other a sweet and happy New Year.
Mañana buena, dulce alegre, seas bendito, seas contento.
That's your part.
Añada buena, dulce alegre, seas bendito, seas contente. May your year be sweet comme la mienne. May you hear the shofar que te desperte. Añada buena, dulce alegre, seas bendito, seas contente. May your
Rosh Hashanah means the head or beginning of the year. So, what does our New Year observance entail? We take stock, we reawaken, we remember. We gratefully acknowledge all that the past year has brought many of us: life and health, love, beauty and truth, strength and courage. Whatever good we have known this year, we reflect upon in joy. And in this hour, we also reflect upon our disappointments and how we have missed the mark. This year again has been especially hard. Our spirits and our coping skills continue to be tested. So, as we reflect, let us observe what we have learned from the events of this past year and consider how we can apply these lessons to make changes in the new year.
An excerpt from On the New Moon of Tishrei by Rabbi Lynn Gottlieb. On the new moon of Tishrei, the month of harmony's return, we remember and renew the dance of creation inside us, in community, in the way we touch life. On the 7th month, we gather to renew ourselves on life's way by pausing and looking inward, to behold the landscape of our traveled way. At this time of year, we heal our wounds by invoking the ancient ways of restoring inner peace. We cast our crumbs to the river, beat our chests, blow the shofar, confess the crooked way. We sing, dance, share our food, tell our stories, and play. And in the pause of celebration, we are free to forgive, embrace, reconcile, and restore at one-ment to the soul until we find again our common heart of joy.
In the traditions of our people, we voice our joy and gratitude for our continuing life together as a community.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
As members of Teens Acting for Social Change and last year's Zion class, the B'nai Mitzvah class, we are honored to participate in our Boston Workers Circle community by leading this part of Rosh Hashanah.
This is the first day of the Jewish New Year, a day when we come together to remember the year just past and plan the year to come. According to tradition, Adam and Eve were created on Rosh Hashanah, and thus it considered the birthday of the world. Generations later, on Rosh Hashanah, Joseph was freed from an Egyptian prison. And later still, the Jews in Egypt rebelled on Rosh Hashanah, stopping their slave labor and beginning the liberation of Egypt.
This is a day of joy. We are thankful for life, for the health and happiness that makes life bright and good, for our families and friends, and for all of the rich blessings that we enjoy every day. We express our hope that all people throughout the world shall be blessed with health, happiness, and peace. Welcome to a new year.
Today we speak and sing in Hebrew, Yiddish, and Ladino, three of the many Jewish languages from ancient times to the present. Language is not only how we communicate, but how we tell our histories and maintain our cultures. Language is also an expression of community, unity, and continuity. Hebrew is the language of the Torah, the language of rituals that have
resonated for generations.
Yiddish is the language of Ashkenazi Jews of Eastern Europe, the language that expresses the radical roots of Boston Workers' Circle. Radical Yiddishkeit provides a direct connection between our Jewishness and our social activism today. Ladino is the language of Sephardic Jews, who were expelled from Spain in 1492 and then migrated across Europe, North Africa, and the Ottoman Empire. Ladino is an expression of our Jewish diaspora and resilience.
Hebrew, Yiddish, and Ladino are precious vessels of Jewish culture, reflected in music, literature, and humor. Singing and speaking these languages weaves together the vibrant tapestry of our culture. We honor our heritage from generation to generation, from door to door, de generation en generation. We now invite members of this year's Zion class, the B'nai Mitzvah class, to read the ancient words.
The Ancient Words, adapted from Emily Dina Ruth Maltz. The ancient words, I don't understand them. They're in a language I do not know. Why are they so familiar?
There is a rhythm to them, a beat, a pulse I understand. From somewhere very deep inside me, my heart, my soul, I am connected to a past I never lived and to a future I shall not know.
A member of the human race, running through my time and still connected to many lives which came before me. So many cultures, faces, tears, and joys. A Jew connected to the past, to a future.
Hoping always that peace and love will finally come to all the world, that we may really live with no barriers, and each of us in the comfort and beauty of our varied traditions.
Long before I understood what it meant to be Jewish, I knew that I was part of something larger than myself, beyond comprehension. I think of my family and my friends, my people and all the people of the world.
The living and those who live on in our hearts and minds of the earth and all its creatures of our universe. And I am reminded of my responsibility to fulfill the promise of peace while I am on earth. Shalom.
Tashlik, to cast away.
We cast away doubt, disbelief, and apathy. We embrace audacious hope.
We cast away inertia and acceptance of things as they are. We embrace shared humanity and a belief in a better world.
We cast away intolerance. We embrace bearing witness and raising our voices for equity and freedom.
We cast away separation of families at our borders. We embrace sanctuary and refuge.
We cast away indifference to the well-being of the earth and inaction in the face of the climate crisis. We embrace inhabiting our world more sustainably and standing up to Goliath governments with courage and persistence.
We cast away individualism, isolation, self-interest, and distraction, and we embrace connection, humility, and the hope of transformation.
As a community, we cast away pessimism and cynicism, and we embrace the belief that we can be the change we have been waiting for.
On Rosh Hashanah, as we reflect on the past year, we think about and project who we aspire to be in the year to come. This past year has been a disaster for democracy, for common decency, and for basic human rights. We have long been a nation of immigrants seeking refuge, asylum, and the promise of a more secure life. We are heartsick at the deportations and detentions that remind us all too painfully of a time not so long ago when it was our family members, our people, who were turned away, sent back to death and destruction. We are committed to supporting our immigrant members and joining with our immigrant neighbors to build a United States where all of us are able to live with safety, freedom, and dignity. Let us lift our voices for the struggles ahead, building a bridge from our activist past to a better future, in solidarity with the many who are suffering from the cruelty and indifference of the present regime.
While we gather up here, there's a part for you to sing along with. That's what we start with, Mir Zayin Platim. We're all refugees together, and you'll hear it 3 times. So the first time, pay attention, and the next 2 times, you'll really have it.
Our common memory holds us together, despite war, persecution, and diaspora. Consider that our tradition does not require official clergy to lead prayer. A minyan of 10 ordinary people suffices. Thus, community is central to the practice of Judaism. It's noteworthy that on the days of awe, no deity can give complete forgiveness. Only another person can forgive us for the hurt we've caused them. This is the community of people that Judaism embraces. It is through this connection to community that we pass on our traditions. But is it enough to seek forgiveness only from other people? What about the land and the plants, the animals, the natural resources we have hurt through our behaviors, which we're all experiencing in the disastrous consequences of climate change? Let us seek reconciliation with everything we're connected to in this world.
Jews are a multifaceted community, united by historic memory. We have been held together and upheld by common remembering. Memory performs the impossible for us. It holds together the past and present and gives continuity and dignity to human life.
The Shama is often considered the singular statement of belief in Judaism. Many Jews have lived and died chanting these words. We sing the Shema today with many voices to express our unity as a community, to honor the principle that we must all stay true to our own beliefs and speak them with pride and dedication. Listen up and to one another, people. Though we are many, we are also one. All are invited to rise in body or spirit and sing.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
The text that immediately follows the Shema in a traditional service says, "These words shall be in your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, speaking of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up." Primo Levi's poem Shema is a commentary on this text. The Shema is supposed to be said aloud. It makes sense. We are crying out to one another. Listen, Israel, act for democracy. This week, will you hear it? Shema by Primo Levi. You who live secure in your warm houses, who, returning at evening, find hot food and friendly faces, consider whether this is a person who labors in the mud, who knows no peace, who fights for a crust of bread, who dies at a yes or a no. Consider whether this is a person without hair or name, with no more strength to remember, eyes empty and womb cold as a frog in winter. Consider that this has been. I commend these words to you. Engrave them on your hearts when you are in your house, when you walk on your way, when you go to bed, when you rise. Repeat them to your children.
I don't think we could have imagined how relevant this next song is, given what's taken place just this past week. Your part, nobody gonna hold us back, no bully gonna knock us down, no fear gonna silence us, no order gonna shut us up. And we'll teach it to you one line at a time. Nobody gonna hold us back. Nobody gonna hold us back. No bully gonna knock us down. No bully gonna knock us down. No fear gonna silence us.
No fear gonna silence us.
No order gonna shut us up.
No order gonna shut us up.
Put it all together. Nobody gonna hold us back. No bully gonna knock us down. No fear gonna silence us. No, you're gonna keep that going.
Nobody gonna hold us
Keep
back.
it free.
Nobody
Keep it
gonna knock
free.
us down.
Freedom of
No fear
speech.
gonna
Free.
silence
Keep
us.
it free.
No
Keep
order
it
gonna shut
free.
us up.
Freedom of the press. Free. Keep it free. Keep it free. Freedom to assemble. Free. Keep it free. Keep it free. Freedom to petition. Free. Keep it free. Keep it free. Freedom of religion. Free. Keep it free. Keep it free. Freedom of speech. Free. Keep it free. Keep it free. Freedom of the press. Free. Keep it free. Keep it free. Freedom to assemble. Free. Keep it free. Keep it free. Freedom to petition. Free. Keep it free. Keep it free. Freedom of religion. We the people. No fear gonna silence us. No order gonna shut us up.
Unetana Tokef. On Rosh Hashanah will be inscribed, and on Yom Kippur will be sealed. How many will pass from the earth, and how many will be created? Who will live, and who will die? Who by water, and who by fire? Who by upheaval, and who by plague? Who will rest, and who will wander? Who will live in harmony, and who will be harried? Who will enjoy tranquility, and who will suffer? Who will be impoverished, and who will be enriched? Who will be humbled, and who will be exalted? At the turning of the year, we look back, look ahead, and see that we are always in the days between.
What we are, thank you, shapes what we become. Unetana Tokef tells us that the child is parent to the adult. But it tells us also that we are capable of changing the outcome through tefillah, tzedakah, and teshuvah. Tefillah, called prayer, derives from the word for honest self-reflection. Tzedakah, commonly called charity, derives from the word tzaddik, a person who acts justly towards others. Teshuvah, commonly translated as repentance, refers to repentance from chet, the Hebrew word for sin. This word has its origins in archery, where it meant missing the mark. Such is the Jewish concept of sin, the missing of one's goal, losing sight of the important things in life. But there's another way to understand teshuvah. The word can be translated to mean turning to hit the mark, turning back to ourselves and our values and our capacities to act justly in community and in the world. Our Jewish tradition calls us to honest self-reflection, justice, and turning. We must ask ourselves if we've hit the mark as individuals, as members of families, and as members of our communities.
By joining together today, we embrace a tradition over 3,000 years old and benefit from a conviction that the new year can be a creative moment. Together, we help each other find the courage and the time to turn. Turning, adapted from Rabbi Jack Reimer. Now is the time for turning. For leaves, migrating birds, and animals, turning comes instinctively. But for us, turning does not always come so easily. It takes an act of will for us to make a turn. It means breaking with old habits. It means admitting that we have been wrong. And this is rarely easy. It can mean losing face, and it can mean starting all over again, and this can be painful. It means saying, I am sorry. It means admitting that we have the ability to change, and this can be embarrassing. These things are terribly hard to do, but unless we turn, we will be trapped forever in yesterday's ways.
And let us consider our own current place in the original sin committed over 400 years ago with the arrival of the first Africans sold into enslavement in North America. From Frederick Douglass, 1857, the whole history of the progress of human liberty shows that all concessions yet made to her have been born of earnest struggle. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are those who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. Power concedes nothing without a demand. Find out just what any people will quietly submit to, and you have found the exact measure of injustice and wrong which will be imposed upon them, and these will continue till they are resisted.
After sacred water. In 1956, the Glen Canyon Dam began construction with an explosion, was hit with a demolition blast keyed by the push of a button. In the Oval Office, the bottom of the canyon dotted by Navajo, Ute, Paiute footprints. Still cooling the explosion, a scar in the earth still aching with uranium mines. Yellow cake, yellow corn tumbled in the runoff. What do you call ancestral homestead? Stopped like a kitchen sink. The water of your people redirected to ranches. Fattened cattle that render the San Juan undrinkable. Quench the white men in bars that don't admit Indians. Water and mineral, packed into bombshells. How do you drown by your own artery? Today, the lake has never been shallower, a drought of its own becoming, not even time to weep before the crossing. Before the fleeing marina of familiar fossils, zebra mussels scour the bones of old adobe, stilled beneath the surface, the ancient sun rendered closer. Every day, as the ranchers lament the withering, the tourists, sticky with sun, dock their houseboats. The people who have known this land see the slick rock still emerging.
Al-Kat, for missing the mark, is another prayer in the traditional high holiday services added to the Amidah, which encourages reflection and self-examination about specific things we have done in the past year and resolve to do better. Here is our community's way of doing this, by asking questions. We invite you to rise in body or spirit and read aloud together. Let us ask ourselves hard questions, for this is the time for truth. How much did we waste in the year that is now gone? Did we fill our days with life, or were they dull and empty? Were there love inside our home, or was there an affectionate word left unsaid? Was there a real companionship in our children, or were we living together and growing apart? Were we a help to our mates, or did we take them for granted? How was it with our friends? Were we there when they needed us or not? The kind need, did we perform it or postpone it? The unnecessary jibe, did we say it or did we hold it back? Did we deceive others? Did we deceive ourselves? Did we respect the rights and feelings of those who worked with us? Did we require our own decisions? Or did we acquire new insights as well? Did we fear what to say and keep quiet when we should have spoken out? Did we mind only our own business, or did we feel the heartbreak of others? Did we live right? And if not, then have we learned and will we change?
More questions. Let us ask ourselves questions as seekers of justice and truth. For this is our time to turn. As we witness the widening divide in our country this year, did we too feel the pain of hatred? Did we challenge ourselves to open not only our minds, but our hearts and spirits to people who are different from us? Did we try to grow beyond our own opinions to see the sacred humanity of all people? Did we interrupt racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, homophobia, and other hatreds in our daily lives? Did we celebrate the beauty of gender diversity, undermine binaries, and fight for loving, liberatory spaces for our siblings of all genders? Were we courageous in speaking out and taking action against the genocide in Gaza? Did we keep our hearts open to pain and suffering instead of turning away? Did we hold fast to our vision for a future of safety, freedom, and dignity for all Palestinians and Israelis, remembering that each life is precious?
Did we work for peace and justice in other parts of the world, such as Ukraine, a center of Jewish population and learning for centuries, and the place from which many of our ancestors emigrated, while U.S. support for Ukraine against Russia aggression has been withheld?
Did we examine our role in upholding systems of oppression, especially white supremacy? Did we work for an educational system that grows the knowledge and power of those starting from disadvantage? Did we fight to value science, expertise, and an independent academia?
Did we march in the streets and then celebrate our victories as though the work was over? Or did we return home to continue the fight for justice? Did we limit our hearts and minds to the narrowness of the world as we currently know it? Or did we envision and contribute to making the world as we wish to see it?
Which vision did we live by? Which world will we choose in the year to come?
A new song. We're going to do the refrain, which is, I'm going to teach you the refrain, which then comes up twice more, but it's the third verse down in your booklet there. A B flat. Yeah, hold chord. Thank you. now. So this is, I'm going to do it line by line. Now I'm working on a world. Now I'm working on a world I may never see. I may never see. I'm joining forces with the warriors of love. I'm joining forces with the warriors of love who came before and will follow you and me. Who came before and will follow you and me. I get up in the morning. I get up in the morning, knowing I'm privileged just to be. Knowing I'm privileged just to be. Working on a world I may never see. Working on a world I may never see. I got so down and troubled, I nearly lost my head. I started waking every morning, filled with sadness, fear, and dread. The world I took for granted was crashing to the ground. And I realized I might not live long enough to ever see it turn around. Oh, but then I got to thinking of the ones who came before, of all the sacrifices that they made to open up so many doors. Doors I got to walk through, streets paved for me by people who were working on a world they never got to see. Here we go. Now I'm working on a world I may never see. I'm joining forces with the warriors of love who came before and will follow you. I get up in the morning, knowing I'm privileged just to be. I'm working on a world I may never see. I don't have all the answers to the troubles of the day, but neither did all our ancestors, and they persevered. Working on a world I may never see.
As Rabbi Tarfon, a sage responsible for compiling part of the Mishnah, or oral Torah, once said, "Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now. Love mercy now. Walk humbly now. You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it."
great rabbi once asked, "Why did God create atheists?" The rabbi said, "When atheists are moral and good and kind and compassionate, it's not because they believe God commanded them to be so, nor because they fear any punishment for being bad. Atheists perform acts of righteousness because they know it is right to do. Atheists help because they believe there is no one else, no power that can or will act without their own deeds. So when someone is in need in our times of crisis, you shouldn't say, 'I'll pray for you,' or 'May God help you.' Rather, in this moment, you should be as an atheist, believe there is no God who can help, and say, 'I will help you.'"
As we close the old year and begin the new, we are called upon to reflect on how we have fallen short and on the harms we have caused or been complicit in. Through a commitment to repentance and repair, we are offered an opening to a way of being in right relation with our communities and with the wider world. Responding to that opening, Boston Workers Circle partners with BIPOC organizations working for a solidarity economy, building workplaces grounded in people's needs, not profit, reparations, acknowledging and working to repair the harms of enslavement and its continuing afterlives, an end to incarceration in favor of reparative and transformative justice, and investment in healthy, non-traumatizing, supportive communities, and democracy.
Out of commitment to our long-term vision for freedom, safety, dignity, and equality for all in Israel-Palestine, in October 2023, Boston Workers Circle joined the call for a negotiated ceasefire rooted in our principles and historic values. Almost 2 years later, the situation could not be more urgent or devastating. Our community refuses to play into the false binary that either you support Jews by unequivocally supporting the Israeli government's genocidal actions or you support Palestinians. We know that as with all people, our destinies and our liberation are tied together. We know that there can be no real security for one people, while mere miles away, another is being starved, massacred, and forcibly expelled from their homes. Every day the violence continues, more and more precious lives are lost, and the nightmarish conditions in Gaza grow more and more unimaginable. Every day the violence continues, we find ourselves further away from our vision of a future of equality, freedom, and safety for all Palestinians and Israelis. As a community, we will continue to join liberatory, pro-democratic movements of all kinds, working toward a besser Welt, a better world, and a just and lasting peace.
In Gaza, a mother never sleeps, by Naima Hassan, Palestinian writer and poet. She listens to the dark, searches its edges, sorts out sounds, sound by sound, to select a suitable story to read her kids to sleep. When they sleep, she stands up to shield them from death. A mother in Gaza does not cry. She folds up fear, rage, and prayers in her lungs and waits for the hum of warplanes to fade, then exhales. A mother in Gaza is not like other mothers. She breaks bread with her own eyes' salt. She feeds her children to the homeland.
How can you protect the people with guns and soldiers? If peace does not come from the heart, how will it come? If we want to trust each other, we have to build love to build peace. After we build this, then peace will come. Elias, age 64, Palestinian mother of 8, grandmother of 12.
I Had a Box of Colors by Tali Sorek, age 13, Beersheba, Israel. I had a box of colors, shining, bright, and bold. I had a box of colors, some warm, some very cold.
I had no red for the blood of wounds. I had no black for the orphan's grief. I had no white for dead faces and hands. I had no yellow for burning sands.
But I had orange for the joy of life, and I had green for buds and nests. I had blue for bright, clear skies. I had pink for dreams and rest.
I sat down and painted peace.
Ya da 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 da. Ya da da ya da da da. Ya da 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 da. Ya ya da 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 da. Ya ya da 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 da. Ya da da ya da da da. Ya
Oib nicht noch hecher by I.L. Peretz.
And every year, just before the days of awe, the high holy days, the rabbi of Nemirov would vanish. He was not in the shul, nor in the study house, nor at home. Where can the rabbi be?
Und der Nemirover pflegt slickest Zeit, jeden Frühmorgen Nelmbären verschwinden. Man pflegt ihm nicht sein in Ergetz. Nicht in der Schule, nicht in beide Botte mit Roshim, nicht bei Minyan und in der Heim Avada und Avada nicht. Wo kann sein der Rebbe?
The people believed that the rabbi, so good was he, ascended to heaven to plead with God for the good health and fortune of the town's Jews in the year to come.
One day, a traveler came to Nemirov at this time of year. He heard the story of the rabbi disappearing and ascending to heaven, and was full of doubt. The doubting traveler quoted a passage of the Gemara, which said that even Moses did not ascend to heaven, but remained suspended 2.5 feet below.
The traveler decided to follow the Rebbe in secret to disprove the villagers. He hid near the Rebbe's home, and in the earliest hour, before even the baker arose, the traveler saw the rabbi leave his house, dressed in tattered old clothes, and carrying an axe. The rabbi walked for 2 hours until he came to a stand of trees. He took out his axe, chopped trees into small logs, tied them together with rope, and walked back toward town.
On the outskirts of town, the rabbi stopped at a beaten-down house, half hidden behind a stone ledge. He knocked on the door.
I have extra wood, my friend, said the Rebbe.
"Ah, dear woodcutter," replied the woman, "I am a poor woman with nothing to pay you."
It doesn't matter, said the Rebbe. Already it has gotten cold, and you will need a warm fire to heat your home.
"Thank you, dear woodcutter, but I cannot even bend down to kindle the fire today, for I am ill."
I'll do it for you, said the Rebbe.
He laid the wood, struck a match, and, as the flames spread their warmth through the house, he quietly said the penitential prayers that preceded Rosh Hashanah. The woman, hard of hearing, could not make sense of the rabbi's words, but the traveler could hear them from his hiding place outside the window. So impressed was he, the doubting traveler, moved to the village and became a follower of the rabbi of Nemirov. And ever after, when a follower of the rabbi tells how the rabbi ascends to heaven, the traveler quietly adds, if not higher.
Und später, aber Chassid hat einmal erzählt, als der Nemirover häupt sich auf sliches Zeit jeden Frühmorgen und flitt auf in Himmel rein, pflegt schon der Litwak nicht lachen, nur zu geben Stillheit, ob nicht nach Hecher.
A wonderful benefit of being in a community is that it cuts through our isolation, especially in difficult or challenging times. All those who have family or friends who are ill or in need, we invite you to rise in body or spirit as we play the music for Mi Sheberach. May you and your loved ones be supported and comforted in this time of need.
Yizkor. At Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we set aside a special time for remembering the dead, to remember those who have gone before, and to remind ourselves how we should live. We invite you to read together. This is the time we remember those who gave meaning to our lives. This is the time we remember the bonds that tied us together, the love that we shared, and the memories that remain with us still. They are now part of the eternity that is human memory. In silence, we remember our family and friends who have passed away. At Yom Kippur, we will say these names aloud. In silence, we contemplate the empty spaces their deaths have left in our lives. In silence, we celebrate the spaces in our lives that they have made richer, fuller, happier, more loving, and deeper in meaning. We mourn their deaths as we celebrate their lives, as we affirm life itself. Let us observe a moment of silence.
There are stars whose radiance is visible on earth, even though they themselves have disintegrated. And there are people whose memory continues to light the world after they have passed from it. These lights shine brightest in the darkest night. They light the path for us. Hannah Senish.
It is an ancient custom to kindle a yahrzeit candle and recite Kaddish for the departed. We invite you to rise in body or in spirit and say the Kaddish. Yiskadal v'yiskadash shemei rabbah bi'alma divrach hirusei v'yamlich malchusei b'chayechon uvyomechon Uvchaye dechol beis Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yisromam v'yisnaseh. V'yishadar v'yisaleh v'yisalal shmei dekudasha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchasa v'shirata, tushbachasa v'nechemasa, damiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. You may be seated.
May our lives be worthy of remembrance and provide sustenance and purpose to others after we die. Thus, the lives of those before us, our own lives, and those who live to continue the work after us will be linked for all time.
The Low Road by Marge Piercy. Alone, you can fight. You can refuse. You can take what revenge you can, but they roll over you. But two people fighting back to back can cut through a mob. A snake dancing file can break a cordon. An army can meet an army. Two people can keep each other sane. Can give support, conviction, love, massage, hope, sex. Three people are a delegation, a committee, a wedge. With four, you can play bridge and start an organization. With six, you can rent a whole house, eat a pie for dinner with no seconds, and hold a fundraising party. A dozen can hold a demonstration. 100 fill a hall. 1,000 have solidarity and your own newsletter. 10,000 power and your own paper. 100,000 your own media. 10 million your own country. It goes one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again after they said no. It starts when you say we and know who you mean. And each day you mean one more.
I'm pleased now to introduce this year's Rosh Hashanah Devarist, Davy Schlasko. Davy grew up outside Woodstock, New York, and now lives in Roslindale. As a consultant, he helps purpose-driven organizations become both more just and more functional. He sings with a Besservelt Yiddish chorus and serves on its steering committee. Davy enjoys making art without trying to be professional at it, learning things he doesn't have to, and having long, rambling conversations over tea and snacks. Davy.
Shalom Aleichem. In so many ways today, we have talked about showing up for each other and having each other's backs. And that's so obviously needed right now. While we organize to stop the injustice and chaos that we're living in, while we work to build better alternatives, we also have to be the kind of community that shows up for each other, that can support and protect each other. Part of what it takes to build that community is trust. Without trust, we can end up working at cross purposes, in spite of shared values and goals. We might find ourselves second-guessing each other's work, stepping on each other's toes, or holding back, guarding our energy more carefully than we have to, perhaps reluctant to fully commit to a shared project. When we have trust, we can go beyond just working together to really collaborate and co-create something. We can take risks together, which means we can make more ambitious choices and try for more radical change. Trust also allows us to rest sometimes, trusting that someone else has the wheel. Another part of why we need trust in each other is that we can't really trust many institutions. As a kid, I learned pretty explicitly not to trust the federal government because of Reagan, but also because my grandfather and many of his peers had been blacklisted, so we knew that the federal government was not always on the side of righteousness. I also was taught not to trust the police, not out of a nuanced political analysis, but because my dad was growing weed in the backyard. And that was much more illegal than it is now. On the other hand, I thought I could trust some other institutions, like my school, in spite of quite a lot of evidence that the school really had no idea what to do with an academically gifted and socially very awkward queer kid. Later, for some reason, I thought I could trust my college, even though it was explicitly designed to help students with a lot more class privilege than I had to maintain their class privilege. Even now, I experience an irrational sense of betrayal when an institution like an employer or a medical clinic or a synagogue says that it wants to support me and people like me, and then predictably does what it has always done and prioritizes protecting its own power. I think a lot of people right now might be experiencing a similar sense of betrayal, as institutions that we have relied on are so clearly acting out of malice or ignorance or fear, and are so clearly failing to protect the people they're supposed to be for. So this makes it all the more important that we be able to trust each other, and that we be trustworthy as individuals, as a community, and as BWC, the organization. So how do we build trust? One of my favorite models about this has 4 parts for what it takes to build trust: intentions, competence, reliability, and awareness of power. So intentions: do we have each other's interests at heart? Do we have our shared interests at heart? For me, this part is also a question of, are we doing this for the right reasons? Are our motivations aligned with our shared values? Or are we maybe doing it for the kudos, or to alleviate guilt, or to feel better about ourselves in some other way? And if the latter, okay, but can we make sure to cultivate healthier motivations also? The second part, competence. Can we do it? Do we have the skills, the capacity, the resources to do what we say we'll do, to support each other in the ways we say we will? Reliability. Will we do it? Will we show up for each other consistently and continue to prioritize what we've decided to prioritize together? Will we live up to our commitments over time? The fourth ingredient, awareness of power, is sometimes trickier. How accurate is our awareness of where we have power, where we have the ability to make stuff happen, and who we have power over, and who has power over us? And how well do we understand what that means for our particular roles in the work we're trying to do together? So, what does this look like for us in our BWC community? Let's think about a couple of examples. One of the groups that's being particularly targeted right now by this administration is trans people. So what does it take for me as a trans person to trust BWC to have my back in the face of this really nonsensical and violent transphobia? What does it take for us as a community to be trustworthy about that? Intentions. Everyone I've met in BWC has shown positive intentions around trans inclusion. It's honestly astounding compared to other communities I've been part of how consistent that has been. Most BWC folks are relatively reliable about using the right pronouns, which is great, but of course that's a pretty low bar. So beyond pronouns, what skills and capacity do we have as a community to support trans folks who aren't able to travel because our passports are no longer safe to use? Or because in many places outside Massachusetts, our driver's licenses might not be considered valid, or there are no public restrooms that we're legally allowed to enter. What skills and capacity do we have to support trans folks who are losing access to essential medical care? How consistently are we bringing our enormous capacity for loving and supporting one another to welcome trans people who don't get that kind of support from their families of origin? Speaking of families, a little aside, it's very refreshing for me as a queer person that BWC doesn't have an aggressively straight vibe, like many majority straight organizations do. But in one way, BWC does come across as very culturally straight to me. And that is that a lot of people in BWC seem to assume that people's relationships with their families of origin are basically positive. At Shabbos gatherings and social events, people ask me about my family like it's small talk. In queer spaces, at least for folks my age and older, that's not a casual question. And a few times I've had experiences in BWC community where I answer that sort of question in a way that acknowledges some of the messiness that happens in some parts of my family, and folks get pretty uncomfortable. Like they don't know what to say. And that's just another skill and capacity that we can build to better support trans and queer people in our community. Anyway, in terms of reliability, I've paid enough attention to trans politics for long enough to see a lot of organizations be really supportive of trans people when it's cool, and then withdraw support. Like the Women's Center that invited me to give them a trans inclusion training every year for 5 years in a row, and told me that they didn't feel it was appropriate for a trans person to actually have a job there. Like the committee I was recruited to, not here, that really wanted my input about engaging trans Jews. And then I pointed out that LGBT Jews are statistically less likely to be Zionist and more likely to be poor. And then they did not want my input anymore and also dissolved the committee. And like the many hospitals and clinics now that are stopping providing transition care under pressure from this administration. So I'm usually slow to trust organizations around trans stuff. And I mention this because part of what is required for us to be trustworthy as a community is that we be reliable over time, for a long time, even though people won't trust us right away. Finally, the fourth element, power, awareness of power differences. Do we understand how much power we have to make a trans person's day better or worse? Or to influence other institutions we're part of to treat trans people better? Do we, as trans people in this community, understand how some of us have significantly more power than others? It's easy for me to see how I've been disempowered by transphobia and ableism and other things. And I've learned how to notice how I receive power because of racism and other things. None of these consistently overrides the others. They don't cancel each other out. They just make each other more complicated. Can we strategize openly about how to use our differently complicated access to power to support and protect each other? Of course, we could ask all the same questions about how we can be trustworthy to other groups that are being targeted right now, like immigrants, people who rely on Medicaid, people who've been publicly vocal about Palestine. The one other example I want to speak to briefly is about how building trust fits in with our mutual aid efforts. BWC folks are organizing mutual aid in the form of skill shares, social and emotional support, and practical support like rides to appointments. In order to build on this work and envision even more ambitious ways of supporting each other, we're going to have to trust each other enough to acknowledge differences in our power and resources. And acknowledging those differences is also how we build trust. We want to support each other to meet our needs socially and materially in a way that doesn't re-entrench power differences, but is genuinely mutual and builds connection and relationships. And our needs differ, as do our capacities. Some of us can contribute lots of time and energy, some not so much. Some can contribute money. Some can support our shared efforts with connections or expertise. We need to get comfortable acknowledging those differences so we can contribute in a way that's equitable and not always equal, and makes good use of all of those resources. To do that, we need a certain level of trust that we are more or less on the same page about how to assess our capacities, how to figure out how much and in what ways we should be giving and receiving. We also need to get comfortable receiving support. And for some folks, that might be harder, which requires a certain level of trust that people won't judge us for our needs. We need to cultivate awareness of the power we have to contribute to each other's well-being by giving and by receiving. Building trust is not automatic. It will be uncomfortable sometimes. We will mess up and feel guilty about it. We might feel betrayed. We will not always get all our needs met, and we will not always live up to our best expectations of ourselves. But we can do it. We can build a trust so strong and so flexible that the betrayal of institutions has less and less impact on us, emotionally and materially. We can keep us safe. We can keep us cared for. We can show up for each other and together build a world of justice and compassion. Thank you. Good Yontif.
Apologies for this intrusion after such a lovely dvar. I just got a note to say that the owner of a gray Kia, license plate 4XJH44, is in front of the church and is blocking a neighbor. So if you're that owner of the Kia, please move your car to unblock that neighbor. Thank you.
Arise, ye prisoners of starvation. Arise, ye wretched of the earth. For justice thunders condemnation. A better world's in birth. No more traditions strange shall bind us. Arise, ye slaves, no more enthralled. The earth shall rise
everyone. Shana Tova. I'm Rebecca Hornstein. I'm the Executive Director at Boston Workers Circle. Thank you. And I'm so grateful to be here with all of you as we reflect on the past year and prepare together for the year ahead. As we've said several times today, it's been just such a year of heartbreak and pain and grief and devastation in the world. And I would not want to be moving through this particular time with any other community. I've seen you all build this past year what is just absolutely necessary, a place where we can be together and be connected in this time of isolation, a place where we can grapple and struggle together in a way that makes us better, and a place where we can really ground in the resistance of our ancestors and pass on the vision of the better world that they fought for to our future generations. So thank you for making this place what it is. Thank you for making BWC a place where we can support each other to be courageous in service of that vision. And it's what these times will continue to call for. And I'm just so grateful to get to be in it with all of you. So I'm going to turn now to thanking all the particular people who made this service today possible. Thank you so much to Davey Schlasko again for your incredible words and pushing us to be more and more trustworthy and trusting of each other. Just feel so moved by what you shared with us today. I also want to thank the people with whom this would not be possible, the Ritual Committee, chaired by the incredible Linda Gritz, and joined by an amazing team, Kimberly Arkin, Jonathan Brumberg-Kraus, Rachel Shagnon, Rochelle Ruthchild, and Zohar Berman. I want to thank the Logistics Committee that made everything run so seamlessly, Jay Moskowitz, Ann Greenwald, Marshall Lazar, Bob Follensby, Sandy Martin, Michelle Golden, Jenny Silverman, and Allie Rice. Thank you to our incredible staff, Zohar Berman, Sandy Martin, Allie Rice, Melissa Sawyer-Greer, Meira Solwaf, and Carly Dream Calbreath. Thank you all for all you do every day, and everyone, this was an all-hands-on-deck effort to make the High Holidays work and function, and so thank you all. Want to thank the band, Lisa Gallatin, Phoebe Rosen, Noli Rosen, Bob Follensby, Polly Katz, Linda Gritz, Michael Frank, and Dan Shore. The music really lifts us all up so much. Thank you. In advance, I'm going to thank Kim Shaw, our shofar blower, who we'll be hearing from in a second. I want to thank our ASL interpreters, Ellen Vershbow and Julia Barnes. Thank you especially to Elliott Church, our hosts every year. Just such an incredible partnership. And so thank you especially to Richard Shostrain. Just really appreciate all you do for us. Thanks to Mike Katz, who handled the sound here in the sanctuary. Thank you. Andrew Nicastro of Streamography for the live stream. Mateo Rojas for the children's program. And all of our readers and volunteers. I won't list all those names, but thank you so much for bringing your voices in to our time together. I also just want to acknowledge two important community members who were especially important parts of building the High Holidays and making them the space that they are for all of us who we lost this past year. Amy Pett, who is a member of the Ritual Committee, a dear long-term member, and Susan Langus. Both were just such bright lights in our community, and we miss their presence here and really feel their presence here with us too, because they really made sure that this space is the space that we have here today and when we're part of contributing to and building it. So I just want to acknowledge that we feel and miss their presence here today. A couple of announcements before we close out the service. We invite everyone to join us for a Kaddish on the lawn. Chance to schmooze, connect, and with each other. And there'll be more instructions in a few minutes. We're also still in need of a few people to help clean up after the Kaddish, so don't jet. Stay, help clean up. We need all hands on deck. Tashleaf today will be hosted at 3 p.m. at the Jamaica Pond Boathouse and the Reservoir Beach in Arlington. So please see your High Holidays reminder emails with more logistical information about those, and hope to see you there. Another chance to connect and be with each other. And also a reminder to join us for Yom Kippur on Thursday, October 2nd. There are still tickets available for the live stream at circleboston.org. And if you're attending in person and would like to do a reading, stay tuned for a notice tomorrow about selecting a reading. First come, first serve on those, so get in early for your favorite reading. We're also doing something new this year on Yom Kippur. During Yom Kippur, we will honor lost loved ones by viewing their names, and we'll have a chance to say their names out loud in person. So if you're attending virtually, or if you're attending in person but would prefer to see your loved one's name instead of speaking it out loud, they'll be displayed on screens. That will be behind here. So please submit names by September 29th using the link at the end of the written program, and you'll be getting emails about this as well, but just don't miss the chance to submit your names. We're also doing a fundraiser. We're joining with Jewish communities around the country, raising money for the Gaza Soup Kitchen. So it's a kind of, national effort to raise money for Gaza. So you can donate. I think there's a link in your program book. Please check out our upcoming events. There's a flyer also in your machzor with more information on that. And the ritual committee is always looking for feedback on High Holidays, so any feedback, whatever feedback you have for next year, you're very welcome to submit that as well. And just also want to shout out, there's also in your machzor a place to become a member of BWC. If you come to High Holidays every year, if you enjoy being part of this community, please consider joining us officially as a member. And when you leave, you can also take your booklets with you. So you don't need to leave them. Take them, use them, look through them, chew them over. You're welcome to take them with you. And that is it. Thank you all so much. Shana Tova. And we will start the conclusion of our service together now. Thank you.
Blowing the shofar. The shofar is an ancient tool. It was used by villages to communicate with neighbors across vast distances. Someone would climb to the top of a nearby hill and blow the shofar in the direction of the neighboring towns, initiating a chain of blasts from village to village through the desert. The shofar was sounded to announce festivals and victories, and the threat of invasion, storm, and war. When the sound was heard, people knew it was time to listen and act. Today we sound the shofar to announce the start of the new year. Wake up, it demands. Notice that another year has passed.
The shofar call has three parts, culminated by a very long blast. These parts are tekiah, one long note to sound the alarm. This is the sound of remembrance. Another year of life has gone by, and we must ask ourselves, how have we lived during that year? Shevarim, three sets of low and high notes. Each low note reminds us that life may bring fear, frustration, tragedy, and sorrow. Each high note gives hope that life will also bring us happiness and serenity. Teruah, 9 short notes for the call to arms that asks us, each of us, to make a personal commitment to liberation of all oppressed people and to the end to exploitation and tyranny in all forms. Call out the shofar's notes, and it will answer. Tekiah. May the sound of the shofar awaken us to the flight of time and summon us to live our days with purpose. Shevarim. May the sound of the shofar shatter our complacency and make us conscious of our weaknesses and our strengths. Teruah. May the sound of the shofar remind us that it is time to proclaim liberty throughout the land and for all the inhabitants thereof. Tekiah Gedolah.
Today begins the 10 days of awe, the period from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, 10 days in which we reflect on the year we've just concluded and prepare for the year before us. For us, as for our ancestors, this 10-day period presents us with time and space for honest self-reflection, forgiveness, healing, and resolve. May we create for ourselves, our families, friends, and community a year of health, happiness, and peace. And now we turn to our neighbors and say, a good Yom Tov, a good Yor, Anyara Buena, Dulce Alegre.
Lashana Toiva. My name is Zohar Berman. I'm organizer here at the Boston Workers Circle, and we're nearing that time when we get to have challah and apples and honey. After this final song, we invite you to join us for Kaddish outside. We'll say the blessings now because we're extra efficient here. So feel free to join us in the ritual over wine, challah, and apple and honey. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagofen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri haetz.